The Tampa Bay Lightning got destroyed by the Anaheim Ducks last night. Tonight, the Sharks, well, they ran into a severe thunderstorm warning. We'll talk about this game, what's coming up for the Sharks, and a whole bunch of other crap going on in the organization. Right now, this is Teal Town After Dark. Good evening, everyone. It is Saturday night, January 22nd, 2022. The Sharks lose badly, 7-1 to the Tampa Bay Lightning. Welcome to Teal Town After Dark. This is your live interactive Sharks postgame. We do this after every game, so do yourself a favor. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. You can chat with us and fellow Sharks fans on the page or the app. You can also follow us on the social, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, SoundCloud, Reddit, Discord, and now TikTok, and find everything on tealtownusa.com. Yes, Ian, we are on TikTok. We expect you to have a dance move in the next week or so.
We're too old to have a TikTok. I think of everything that happened tonight. That's the worst news I've heard tonight.
Oh, shut please be joined by Ian Reed.
Hi.
How are you, bud?
I'm okay. I mean, this is going to be an interesting show, right? Because
big time.
Because here's like after Seattle, like you can get mad, you can come on here, you can spit fire like a dragon. And I could still spit fire like a dragon. I'm sure I will at some point, but this is a completely different animal than the Seattle game, because the Sharks, like Tampa's, they're back-to-back Cup champions for a reason, right? Like this is a really, really good team, and for large stretches of this game, Tampa looked like a team that was just playing with their food.
Yeah, it's like it's
almost
almost like keep away a little bit. You can get mad
at the Sharks, sure, you can get mad at them, but I mean,
but
did you expect better?
I expected a little bit better. I didn't expect 7-1, but I thought they'd make it a little interesting. But,
yeah, I mean, gosh, yeah. I mean, we'll get through it.
I mean, 4 goals in 8 minutes, 15 seconds to start this one off. We'll begin with Ross Colton getting his 7th from McDonough. It deflected off Vlasic's stick to make it 1-0.
Yeah, shitty deflection. It was a weird deflection. I didn't really have much of an issue with Reimer's game. Like, I don't think Reimer got pulled. I know I'm jumping ahead here, but oh god, what a fucking mess. Like this goal here, though, like I didn't really fault it. It was a weird deflection off of Vlasic's stick. And it was funny because, like, I tweeted out earlier when there was talk about, Erik Karlsson might be out, and it might not be just a game, and I was kind of just joking around about how, certain aspects of the fan base are going to kind of come out of the woodwork now.
And that reminder, check Pucknologist tomorrow night at 7 p.m.
Yeah, do that. Absolutely do that. I'm not trying to pick a fight with anyone here, but I'm just,
no.
But that certain aspect, like, it's like, we're going to hear a bunch of tired shit that we've heard a million times before,
right.
And it's funny because I was like, well, I'm not, whatever, like, it's a contact sport. People get hurt. Would you like people to be a little healthier than others? For sure. But people get hurt. It's a contact sport. I don't really get mad at injuries. But where I was going with this was, I was like, well, I'm not mad. And then I realized that with Karlsson out, Vlasic was going to get a lot more ice time. And now I'm mad at Karlsson being injured, because it means that I have to watch Marc-Edouard Vlasic play more. I didn't see the final time on ice for Vlasic tonight, but it seemed like he was on the ice a lot when things are going wrong.
I'll break this down for you. Marc-Edouard Vlasic played 18-20 tonight, including almost a minute and a half shorthanded. He had more ice time than Radim Šimić at 17:58. Mm-hmm. And Ryan Merkley, despite getting an assist on the lone Sharks goal, played only 12:52 tonight.
Well, yeah, but he made a bad decision on, I think, the 5th Tampa Bay Lightning goal. So, of course, to the bench with you, Rook. right? Because
Yeah.
that's how this team works. Like, oh, Rook made a bad play. He's gonna learn from it. But yeah, like just frustrating.
Yeah. Shimmick making his return played 17:58 -3. Burns 25:37. Mario Ferraro 22:49. He took a bad shot that he blocked to make it near the end of the first period. So it's yeah. I mean, it's tough. I mean, I'm stunned. There are guys on this team that don't have a minus, like Meyer, Raska, and Barabanov.
Timo Meyer's like a plus a million. Like not a million, but like I was looking through some stats earlier, and I was surprised how far on the plus side Timo Meyer was.
Yeah. AJ was at the game, so we're kind of on our own with some comments. And Shalina Goldman, good friend of ours, saying Buchner called tonight's matchup men against boys and said competing with a team like Tampa Bay starts with showing up.
Yeah. Yeah, like the Sharks did not come to play in the first period. Like they didn't even look like they were in the game until after Reimer got pulled, which was, and again, I don't think the Reimer getting pulled was an indictment on Reimer so much. I mean, the team in front of him just wasn't playing. Mm-hmm. So, you have to go to Bob Buchner has to go into the old, okay, well, we'll switch the goalie and see if that motivates the guys. And, and after that, I thought when Hill came in, I thought he's kind of settled things down a little bit. Like I gave Hill a lot of credit, although I didn't like some of the goals he scored that got scored against them later. But again, it's 6-1 now. Like, yeah, I mean, you can get mad at Aiden Hill, but like on a 6-1 and 7-1 goal, I mean, what are we doing at that point?
Yeah, and that's that was the tough part is that Aiden Hill played maybe a little bit better, but it was just a rough night. And Logan Teal 86 saying this game is going to be an excuse to send down Merkley, and that pisses me off.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is.
Don't give me this illusion that you're trying to make a playoff spot when Booger is insistent on playing dog players.
Oh yeah, no, exactly. Like, and here's the thing, like the one goal, I think it was the 5th goal against, right? Merkley makes a bad pinch and then he kind of freezes on the line. So what you want to do in that situation, if you're Ryan Merkley, is you either need to get the puck through the man, or you need to take the man. Ryan Merkley did neither of those things, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was a bad play, and it's obviously, look at, again, how many NHL games has Ryan Merkley played so far? Not very many. So he's going to learn, things. You're going to learn these things that you can't get away with certain things as you increase in levels of hockey, right? Something that works in junior, it's not going to work in the A. Something that works in the A isn't going to work in the NHL, right? So it's a learning process. But we all know how this team is coached, and especially if Carlson, isn't out for any period of time, yeah, I totally expect Ryan Merkley to be back on the taxi squad or, something dumb so they can bring in, Shimmick's whatever, another Shimmick-like defenseman, right, to fill that spot, because if they were just a little tougher tonight, then they would have won something, right? And and Matt H is saying in the chat, and I completely agree with this, right? It's a learning experience. It shouldn't be a prison sentence. Absolutely. Yep.
Absolutely.
I 100% agree with that, but we know how Bob Buchner coaches this team. And I feel like it's one of those things where you're like, and I've liked, like, has Ryan Merkley been perfect? But I really liked his game in the NHL. Like, he's in the opportunities he's been given this year, he's played way ahead of my expectations for him based on things that I've seen or heard from on the CUDA.
Yeah. See, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. Is it me, or does Merkley, overthink things, or thinks he has extra time doing it? Because it seems like he has a lot going on in his head to make these plays. He seems like, I can make this move or make this move. And we've talked about this before, Ian, where it's, things that are going to work in the AHL won't work in the NHL. And I thought that's what the whole thing is about developing these guys for the NHL.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look, the thing is, And again, right? Like you can look at that one play and you can be like, oh my God, who makes that play if you're not, whoever. And obviously the answer is, that these things happen, right? But the problem that I have with this team and the way that it's coached is that they like it's about accountability, right? This is the thing. The buzzword of this year has been accountability, right?
Right.
I think we all agree on that. That's been the buzzword going into the season. Well, we didn't hold guys accountable this year. This year, more guys are going to be accountable. Blah 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 blah. And some people have been held accountable. Like look at Vlasic got sat for a game. So I guess there's a little bit of accountability.
Right.
But but some players for some reason are completely shielded from accountability. And I think one guy who gets shielded, and I know I'm going to get people mad at me in the chat because apparently to be in this fan base, you have to be a Brent Burns or an Erik Karlsson guy. You can't be both, right?
I
so
beg to differ,
you say bad things about Brent Burns. Well, you're an Erik Karlsson guy and you fucking ruin the franchise. And if you're an Erik Karlsson guy, then Brent Burns has to be a sack of dog shit.
Oh my God.
I'm just calling it how it is. All right. But I think for a guy, and don't get me wrong, like Brent Burns has done a lot of good this season as well. Like he's the top, he has the most points on the blue line. You'd like to see his shooting percentage come up a little bit, but I think Brent Burns has gotten away with a lot this year where there's no accountability on Brent Burns. Like,
do you think it's maybe you don't hear it maybe because it could be, and I know he's got multiple years left on his deal, but to kind of flash at him is like, hey, it's still Brent Burns. Come and get him. You like that starfish defensive posture. How you doing?
Yeah, I don't know, right? I just and maybe he does. And I think, and again, like, what do you do? Do you sit Brent Burns for a game? I don't know. But I mean, I don't think he's been sit worthy. I just think like his offensive game can make up for his defensive deficiencies, but I just feel like some of his defensive deficiencies have really gotten kind of egregious. And for a while, like there was a good stretch where, and I love Mario Ferraro too, but that pairing was getting caved.
Yeah.
Caved. Right? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. I just feel like accountability works for some players and not for others.
Yeah, and see that's the thing, it's that these guys are comfortable.
Yeah,
and let's be honest here, Burns, what, a 3-team no move clause, no trade clause,
mm-hmm.
And we're getting from Sheng Peng, Couture stressed, emphasizing his job to keep everybody positive. It's just one game. I mean, you get the highest of highs where you destroy LA, Timo has a great night and everything,
mm-hmm.
and then you get the lowest of lows.
But it's not
tonight.
just one game. Like, they just got beat by, and like, as bad as this team is, then there's Seattle.
Yeah.
And they lost that game. Like, it's not like this is just one game. This is just the beginning. You got 4 afternoon games coming up. How did they get 4 afternoon games? How does that work?
Not only that, but the weirdest travel schedule coming up on this road trip. Washington to Florida to Carolina, back down to Florida, play Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
I mean, and then they go into their All-Star break and bye week for that matter. I don't get that, but boy howdy.
Like, I don't think this is gonna get any better any quicker. I mean,
No.
if they win one game of those next 4, I'll be surprised.
I just want them to win a couple so they can be above 500, and AJ has to customize his Senators jersey with Karlsson on the back. That's at the very least I hope for.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Like, this team is so perplexing. Maybe it's not even perplexing. I just think need to collect my thoughts here.
Well, you do that.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna set up the poll question for everyone tonight. If you're joining us live here, you can log into our super chat and take the poll question tonight. And it's it's cut and simple. We are halfway. We start the second half tonight. The question we have is halfway through the season. The Sharks are playing above expectations, below expectations. They are who we thought they were. Currently, with 37 votes, we have 57% saying they are who they thought they were, 27% saying above expectations, 16% saying below expectations.
I don't know how they could be below. Like
I can't either.
To each their own, but I don't know how they would be below expectations. Like, how unrealistic would your expectations be for them to be below expectations at this point?
Especially after
I
last
understand
season.
the majority saying probably they are who they thought they were, especially after a drubbing like tonight. But there's been and I was talking about this on Twitter too. Like, the thing with the Sharks this year, and I've said this a lot on this show, is that there have been a lot of moments where there's been things that I've liked, right? Like, I don't think this season's been a complete disaster tire fire like last year. They've had games like last year, but they're not the same. They're not the same team as last year. I think they're a better team than they were last year, and I think there has been stretches of hockey that has impressed me, and I think that we've seen good individual performances, and we've seen good team performances too. Like, we've seen this team maybe even in some games that they lost where they've hung around better. Like tonight with everything that's gone on, tonight's probably not a good show to say this because obviously what we just watched, right?
Right.
But I don't know. Like, I think I would probably say they're probably a little better than I expected, honestly. Like, because there has been things this season where I think have been positives. The problem is they're not enough to make this a good team.
No, they need something else. And they're not going to get it right away. Let's be honest, right? I mean, they're not going to go out and go for something to bring in offense.
Oh no, this team shouldn't buy it all. Like, this team's no. Like, there's this team should sell. Sure.
Until the college season ends and you bring in Bordelot if they want to do that, or if they're really crazy, then they call Patty out of retirement. At this point.
Shut the fuck up. Just no.
I'm kidding, Ian, kidding, my friend. Reimer's saying, we believe we're a good team. Some nights you don't play well. And there are times where, you can't always, you can't always pin it on Reimer. This is a team loss.
This absolutely wasn't on goaltending.
This is an all-around team loss. They didn't have enough scoring. I mean, you make it 4-0 thanks to Stamkos getting his 20th. Joseph his 7th. Corey Perry gets 11th just to piss off everybody, Shark-wise. But then, you get Magna as your lone goal scorer. Where are you guys? Come on. Now, granted, Bob decided to, break up PDB's, Jamba Juice blender and, switch up the lines to do something. But,
well, the problem is, right, like, line blender works when you have like a lot of offensive tools to mix and match. The problem is that they've got 4 guys that can score, then everything else is what it is. And even 4 guys that can score might be fucking generous.
Seton, I'm not going to answer you. I'm not going to comment.
We do not jerk off Joe Pavelski on this show.
Or bring down Erik Karlsson too much. Oh man! All right. And some people are saying an elite goaltender. I mean, up till recently, these guys have been playing well. I think at one time earlier in the week, I think we've mentioned that Hill and Reimer have had decent numbers
I thought Hill
Then
came in, played
then
pretty
like
well
Robin
until
Leonard.
I thought Hill came in and played well until he didn't. In the third, like those last couple of goals weren't very good. Like I think I don't know, it was the sixth or seventh goal, and I broke it down on I quote tweeted the Teal Town account on at Teal Town USA on Twitter, and it's just like the frustrating thing is like sometimes Hill just doesn't know where the puck is, so he instinctively doesn't have his pad out far enough. But if he stretches out just a little more, he makes a save. But instead he loses track of the puck, pulls his pad in, and gives and leaves a wide open net there, and it's frustrating. But I thought before that, before the goals started going in on Hill too, I thought Hill had a decent game tonight. Again, Reimer didn't have a great start, but he got zero help. I'm obviously Reimer's been significantly better than Hill this season, but I've liked Hill's last efforts. I don't look at this team and say, oh, this is goaltending, because I don't really think that's been the story. Like, yeah, Hill had a really rough stretch there for a while, but the real story here is that you can't, you have a couple of guys, 3-4 guys, and if you can hem those guys in like a good defensive team like Tampa can do, there's no one else to, there's no secondary scoring. Like Tampa Bay, you can go and tie, maybe you play really well against their first and second line and keep them off the board. Well, their third line has a bajillion goals this year.
Right.
You can't say that for San Jose.
No, they have all around secondary scoring, and losing the likes of Yanni Gord and Barclay Goodrow, and they have next guy up. Ross Colton had 2 goals on this night. Killorn, gets on the power play, in the third period. They had 2 goals in 33 seconds to really nail the coffin in.
Yeah.
And there's this quote from Cogliano here. We thought we were close to their level. Proves that we were not even close.
Oh, yeah. Like the Sharks, again, you could look at the standings and you would think that the Sharks are better than they are. Oh, well, they're in the second wild card before tonight, and they might even still be. I don't know what with Edmonton and winning what that does for things, but
we'll get to that in a little jiffy.
But I mean, like, you could be deceived, but then you got to remember that the NHL postgame's 600 games, so yeah, they're up in the second wild card spot, but there's teams that have 5-6 games in hand on the Sharks.
Right.
Like, they're not. I don't know why they would think they were in that caliber, like in that class. Like, yeah, we can hang with the Tampas. What have they done this season?
Yeah,
that's shown they can hang with the Tampa Bays. They had a good game against Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Looking at the standings right now, the Sharks still hold the second wild card spot.
Well, yeah, great.
I'm
but
stunned.
Again, but teams have like they played more games than a handful of teams.
Yeah. No.
Once all those games are played and everyone catches up, are the Sharks still there? I don't think so.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, and the way that they blew a chance against Seattle, at least get a point against Seattle, that would have been a big boost when LA and Edmonton, lost. That would have picked up a lot of things. But yeah, I mean, you have Calgary with 6 games in hand. Dallas has played a few, so they're just 4 games in hand. Edmonton and Winnipeg have 5 games in hand. Vancouver is just 2 games in hand. So you have, they're starting to play a little bit more, and that's the other thing too, Ian, is when these teams are making up a boatload of games, and I think there's like some ridiculous amount for some of the Canadian teams. So for the likes of Winnipeg, Edmonton, Vancouver, they're gonna be resting while those teams are going to make up a boatload of games. Those teams will get tired while they're fighting to get back into it, while the Sharks will get some rest.
Yeah, but not playing, I think, can be just as bad as playing a bunch, right? Like if you're going to take a week or two off, and then you have to play, like, let's say Edmonton, for example, an Oilers team that's been playing nonstop. Like, yeah, Edmonton might be tired, but you still think that would probably favor them, right? Like, what team do you think is going to start on time? The team that's been playing for 2 weeks straight, or the team that's had a game in 2 weeks?
True. It's your classic rest over rust situation. But I would think that down the stretch, it may not hit during February, but maybe in March when San Jose's had that rest, as opposed to a lot of teams, even the Islanders for that matter, to be fresh, to have those fresh legs.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. They're going to be so far to the playoffs, but at that point, it's not going to matter.
I just hope that
like that's the thing, right? I think at the end of the day, like, that's a nice thought, but reality is are they going to be even? And I think that they're in the hunt thing right now is a complete fucking mirage. I think once the games are played, regardless of rest or rust or whatever, better teams are going to get points. And there are teams that the Sharks have to, that are going to have to catch up to games played that are better than the San Jose team.
And the other part is that the Sharks need to have victories against some of these teams that maybe they shouldn't be beating if they really want to go after that playoff spot that they so covet.
I think it's a mirage. Like, if this team's just lucky it's in the Pacific.
And I think, where is it? Let me pull it up here. Jim, FLA, the Sharks would be 11 points out of fourth place in the Metro.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, this team's lucky it plays out in the West and in the Pacific. Like, and even the Central, like.
Yeah, the Central, they'd be like 9 points.
Right?
Yeah, they'd be 9 points out of third place St. Louis, or 7 points out.
Like, I know
from
Calgary's
Minnesota.
had a tough go of things, but I still feel like in 6 games, they've played 6 less games. They're 2 points behind the Sharks.
Yeah,
playing 6 less games, and I know they've had a rough go of it of late, but do you think that when it's all said and done, that's going to be a team that the Sharks are going to be ahead of? I don't.
They shouldn't be. Let's be
real. They shouldn't
here.
be.
But there are those teams, and we can point
like,
to
yeah, okay,
Edmonton.
Vancouver, whatever. Like, yeah, Vancouver's ass. Edmonton, who knows what the hell Edmonton's going to do at this point. But I still feel like, the Ducks have come back down to earth a little bit, but I think they're still a better team than the Sharks.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The Kings, that could go either way. But I still think Calgary for sure. Like, I think Calgary is going to be fine. I think they're going to come back up. I can't. And as bad as the Pacific is, like, I can't imagine Edmonton not pulling out of this nosedive they're in.
On a side note, then, what do you think needs to happen in Edmonton?
I don't know.
Besides win.
What are they going to do? They're kind of their problem is in their front office. Their problem's not on the ice. They have the most they have the most overrated GM of the modern era.
Definitely in the salary cap era. Definitely within the last 5-10 years.
Oh no, salary cap era for sure. Like, I think Ken Holland's incredibly overrated. I think he benefited from a really good scouting department, and for a long time spending significantly more than everyone but the Rangers.
For a team that's got Connor McDavid, you would think they'd be a hell of a lot better. Whether or not,
Well, it's not basketball.
whether or not he is the man to score, you know. So, and I see everybody say, "Oh yeah, Evander Kane's coming in," you know. So that pretty much is it with this game. Let's be honest here. I mean, the second period, Point gets that fifth goal. Killorn and Colton in the third period makes it 7-1. It wasn't even that close. You saw the net mouth scramble to get the goal in, but it was a distinct kicking motion. What did you see from that?
I didn't. So here's the thing, right? Like, I didn't see the distinct kicking motion, but I could think of like 3 ways that goal could have been turned around. Like, it doesn't really surprise me that got called back, but I didn't see the puck. Like, I didn't see the puck crossing the line as a result of a kick. That was an interesting one because I thought that Stamkos was probably in the right spot on Meyer, that you weren't going to get a goaltender interference call there because, or at least you wouldn't get the benefit of the doubt on a goaltender interference call because Stamkos wasn't directly behind Meyer, so it wasn't like you couldn't use the excuse, okay, well Stamkos pushed Meyer into the goalie's boot and that's what put him in, right? Like, I just thought that that Elliott, didn't know where the puck was and slid around to get up, thinking that it was under him somehow, and it went in the net. I don't know. I didn't like that call, but I'm not really surprised that goal got turned back.
Right. And then, of course, Noah Gregor finally gets one past him, but it was after the whistle in the third period. That kid can't buy a goal, man. And there's a lot of guys that are on Schneid's now, and it's getting bad.
Yeah. I mean, I've been on this for a while now, and I don't know if another guy is gonna come up and do any better per se. Like, there's a lot of guys in this team where I'm like, man, they do a lot of good things. They just can't put the puck in the net. Noah Gregor's one of them. But I just, at some point, someone has to score a fucking goal. And I just wonder if you go down to the Barracuda and say, and I'm not saying banish Gregor back to the Barracuda forever, just, let another guy take a crack at it.
Or just give him like a boost of confidence with the AHL to get his scoring touch off.
I don't know. I mean, I think at some point, Noah Gregor feels like Noah Gregor's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if, do you have to send him back to the Barracuda? I mean, obviously for roster considerations, I guess you would, but I mean, shit. He's a guy that there's guys in the Barracuda that I'd like to see get a crack, but I understand, like, do you have to send Gregor down to do it? I guess so. I mean, you could pull Nieto out of the lineup too, but I mean, you only have so many people on the active roster, so it is what it is.
Yeah. So the Sharks lose this one 7-1 to Tampa, their second straight loss as they head out on this crazy road trip to finish off the first half of the season here. Just, and you seeing everybody in the chat, Tom Dolan, embrace the suck, tanking at the tank. Logan saying Noah Gregor's shot selection is terrible. Noah Gregor shouldn't be in the top 6. No.
Well, I mean, but who should be then? That's
exactly
the problem, right? Like, you have a cast of guys that are, that are like third line guys trying to play first and second line minutes.
So Cogliano kind of went off post game. I'm trying to pull it up from Pashelka here on Twitter. if you want to lay an effort like that, if you don't want to work and you don't want to do the right things, especially with the trip we're going on, it's not going to be good. It's just black and white, really.
Yeah, I mean, again, I didn't think the Sharks started on time, and I thought they got a little bit better as the game went, as good as they were going to do against this Tampa team. But again, this is a Tampa team playing 2 games in 2 nights. I don't know, man. I can understand where he's coming from. Like, you can't be happy, and I'm sure that message will be, loud and clear for any rookie that's going to get pulled out of the lineup tomorrow, so we can bring back in our rotating cast of pugilists and whatever.
So there's that one. So the Sharks lose 7-1. This is basically their final home game for quite some time. They'll be back. They'll be back in the Shark Tank on Valentine's Day as one of the games that they'll make up for that they lost. And let me see if I can pull up the graphic I had for us to get it going. Looks like it's not up. Okay, that's terrific. Oh, there it is. Here we go. So if you've had tickets for some of these games, here's your heads up here. So the game against Edmonton that was scheduled for December 21st will now be played on Valentine's Day at 7:30. So feel the love when Connor McDavid comes to town. The game that was scheduled for Vancouver on the 23rd will be played on February 17th at 7:30. The game that they were supposed to be playing in Anaheim the day after Boxing Day is now February 22nd. And then they moved up the game against Vegas. So just in time for Jack Eichel to make his Vegas debut, it'll probably happen at home Sunday, February 20th at 5 p.m. So those are your little changes there. Yeah. Jack Eichel and then Max Pacioretty. I don't know what they're going to...
I don't know. I'm not looking forward to those.
I don't know.
To those Vegas games. I'm looking forward to any of that. I mean, I think they'll do fine against... I think they can beat Anaheim. I think they can beat Vancouver. I think they can beat Edmonton. Vegas, I don't like that game. Edmonton, though, I think something I read tonight is I think Edmonton's like 9-2 against Pacific Division rivals at this point. So that's something to keep in mind.
That's crazy. And we'll see a lot of Edmonton. Like, we're going to see a lot of the Pacific Division here. Let's do the wraparound really quick here. Sabres beat the Flyers. What? The Sabres won 6-3. That means...
Oh, yeah, did they ever?
Peyton Krebs gets is that his first NHL goal?
It's first and second NHL goals.
Oh, yes. So, and Calder winner Jeff Skinner, actually scored too. So 6-3. The final...
Martin Jones started that game, let in 4 goals and 8 shots before he got pulled.
Would you like me to look it up for you, bud?
No, that's what happened. I watched it.
No, I was saying the season stats.
Oh, 902.
902. In other words, Ian's hair. See that smile on his face right now, folks? It's good. We all know there's no way in heck he's going to have some shutouts in that one. But Sabres and Flyers with 13 wins each. I'm sure that's going over so well right now with Bobby Clark. Bruins.
That's all Hextall's fault. They've already made a scapegoat for it.
No kidding, right? David Pastrnak gets the game winner for the Bruins as the Bruins beat the Jets 3-2. In overtime, the Avalanche win 3-2 over Montreal. Gabriel Landeskog with the game winner. What? No Cale Makar goal? No wonder I'm losing my fantasy hockey game this week. Devils beat up on the Hurricanes 7-4 in this one. Nathan Bastian with a pair of goals in this one. Sveshnikov with his 14th in the loss for Carolina. That's the last thing we need. We need another team pissed off to play the Sharks soon. Rangers whoop up on the Desert Dogs 7-3 in this one. Kreider's been on a roll now. He gets a hat trick, his 27th, 28th, and 29th of the season, as the Desert Dogs continue to flounder to Houston, Kansas City. Who knows? Capitals win in overtime on a Josh Norris turnover to Nicholas Backstrom, 3-2 in overtime there. The Leafs hang on to a 3-1 lead. What?
Yeah, but they beat the Islanders. Like, ooh.
Yeah, 3-1, and of course a tough night for Islanders as their longtime captain Clark Gillies passed away. Was it last night? Longtime member of the Islanders organization, and so that was a tough one for Islanders fans to take. Predators win 4-1 over Detroit. They are now at 55 points on the campaign. Matt Duchene with a pair to get to 19. Philip Forsberg with his 20th. Minnesota wins in overtime over Chicago 4-3. DePrinket gets a goal. Borgstrom with a pair in the losing cause. Foligno gets his 16th in overtime. Break up the Oilers. They won 5-3. Everything is all well and now with the Oilers. They beat the Flames 5-3 in this one. Draisaitl with his 27th. Kachuk and Lucic and Hannafin with the goals in that one. So there's your recap around the NHL. The Sharks currently, and again, mind you, games in hand. All right, they are still up 2 points on Calgary in the second wild card. Of course, Calgary, like we've mentioned before, 6 games in hand.
6 games in hand.
I'm sure Daryl Sutter is still having the bitter beer face on hand. Dallas is at 42 points with 4 games in hand on San Jose. Edmonton and Winnipeg each have 5 games in hand on San Jose and are at 40. So Sharks could have jumped into the number 3 spot with, at least a point these last 2 games and come up empty. So it's too bad we didn't see Draisaitl's press conference afterwards. That one.
I mean, the specific division is just ass. It's so like, again, this is where like the mirage effect comes in, right? Because it's like, they're 4th with 44 points. Like 44 points in the Central like makes you 5th, right? Like, and that's not just obviously you're like, oh well, 5th doesn't sound so bad, but like, that puts Anaheim or LA in 5th too.
Right.
In the Central, right? Like, it's just, the Pacific is just such a gong show of mediocrity and patheticness.
And speaking of patheticness.
Ooh, Barracuda!
The San Jose Barracuda played the Bakersfield Condors, had a 2-0 lead, in the early in the second period, and then proceed to allow 4 straight goals. 2 in the second, 2 in the third. John Leonard made it interesting with his second goal of the game late to make it 4-3, but that was not enough as the CUDA fall 4-3 to the Condors. They'll play again tomorrow in San Jose. It's, I believe it's the doggy day at the tank for the Barracuda.
Ooh,
yes,
that's fun.
Should we discuss what else happened with the CUDA?
If we have, yeah, I mean, whatever. Like, the day that ends in Y, someone does something stupid. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, just really quickly because I think it needs to be mentioned. Krzysztof Rabik was suspended by the AHL for 30 games for giving out a racial gesture to Boko Ibama of the Tucson. Thank you, the Tucson Roadrunners.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for a guy who had Evander Kane on his team about a month ago, for a guy who has Montana Onyebuchi, who was sitting in the penalty box, damn, you're dumb.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's no excuse for this. This is completely inexcusable. And there's another issue tonight. I guess someone made a similar gesture at Jordan Subban. Like, it's 2022. Why the fuck are we still doing this shit?
Right.
Like, as a society, right? Like, I don't understand. Like, I wouldn't approve of this if you weren't playing. But like, imagine. I'm gonna use the word that's gonna piss some people off, but imagine how privileged you are.
Yep.
That you get to play a game for a fucking living.
Yep.
To pull a stunt like that. Like, the fucking privilege, man. Like, how fucking dumb.
Yeah. I mean, it's inexcusable. Like, the apology, when they released the apology, I'm like, okay, that was obviously,
Well, I mean, yeah,
but
I think, yeah, I mean, you should. I mean, obviously, like, when you do something dumb, you should apologize. But I don't, I'd be like, oh, you apologize, whatever. Like, I don't know. I mean, it's up to the offended player. Like, that's who has to forgive them.
yeah.
Right.
And like Boko said on Twitter, enough is enough. Enough with this shit.
And it's stupid. Like, the fact there should be, I mean, like, 30 games is a huge suspension. Don't get me wrong, but there should be. I just feel like there should be more, probably even more greater penalties than that. Like, this doesn't have a place in the game, let alone, and it shouldn't have a place in society either.
Right. So, yeah. So, I mean, last year or I think in 2020, the Sharks organization came out with the Teal for Change Council. I'm really surprised, and maybe it's because he has to go through the support system of everything, but I'm really surprised he's still with the organization. So,
I don't, and here's the thing, like, I don't know how contracts work in the AHL, because I know he's on an AHL only deal, so I don't know how, like, the NHL contracts, obviously we know, are pretty rock solid.
Yeah.
I don't know if the Sharks could just cut this guy if they wanted to. Like, I don't know enough about the AHL CBA to make it like an educated, informed thing. But to me, if there is a way that they can get out from under this guy easily, then they should just fucking do it.
Absolutely. So there's that.
Because again, like, you're playing in the fucking AHL. Like, how privileged can you be? Like, yeah, the AHL isn't the NHL, but you still get a decent chunk of change for playing in the AHL. Like, it's not like you're still making a living playing a fucking game.
Yeah.
Maybe grow the fuck up.
Amen, Ian. So there's that. All right. So we'll get out of here on that point. If you missed anything or you want to watch this again, check us out on tealtownusa.com or your favorite podcatcher, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and always available at tealtownusa.com. So can we got to end on a happier note, right, Ian?
Sure.
I mean, let's hope.
We lost 7-1. Hockey's racist as fuck. What's the happy note?
The happy note is we got to send some congratulations to Al and his now wife. He got married yesterday. I guess on the way to Atlanta. Looks like they're at a Black Bear Diner. So hope it was a delicious night time. But congrats to Al and his wife on tying the knot. Wish you all the best, especially in Atlanta. So
yeah.
So a little bit of happiness. I mean, if you're a Niners fan, you're really happy tonight. But yeah, I mean, it's been a rough one. It started out great with Timo Meyer, but the rest of the week's kind of just gone to a big old pile of crap.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, congrats, Tal, on tying the knot. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah.
So, Ian, thank you, my friend. I know that this was not the funnest After Darks to do, but I appreciate you as always, and tell where people can find them. Your final thoughts.
Yeah, so you can find me at Ian Blogs Hockey. I think you're gonna see a bunch of me on the show coming up because I think I'm signed up for most of these games coming up. So maybe we'll get some wins in here.
Thank God.
But yeah, I mean, man, it's funny because I don't think I was super angry tonight. 'Cause again, I think you look at the team they played and that kind of just settles itself. But maybe we'll get some genuine anger coming up. We'll see.
The rate that if they play like this against these next 4 teams, my goodness.
Well, I mean, if you spot any of these teams with 4-goal leads, you're going to lose.
Yeah. And with the early starts on the East Coast, we've seen how that's gone. So we'll see what happens. So I'm at PuckGuy14 on the Twitter and the Instagram. We will be back with you tomorrow night for Pucknologists at 7 p.m. So Jerk and AJ will recap
the show where we do jerk off Joe Pavelski.
Oh. I got nothing.
Oh shit!
I
get it now.
The let's just put it this way: the lawn is getting a little bit long right now. So Pucknologists, Sunday night 7 p.m. We will be back with you Wednesday as the Sharks begin their 4-game road trip as they take on the Washington Capitals. So that'll be an early start. So check it out there. A lot of early starts this coming week on the road trip. So be on the lookout for that. But until then, happy early birthday, Sharky. Yes, they celebrated your birthday tonight. His birthday's technically not until January 28th when he popped out of that Budweiser Zamboni. Awkward. But until Sunday night for Pucknologists and Wednesday night for After Dark, I'm Eric. He's Ian. Keep it real. Keep it teal. Keep it real till God's sake. Good night, everyone. Oh, God.